The Yorkshire Three Peaks, Ingleborough, Whernside and Pen-y-Ghent can be completed in 24 miles. However, if you had to choose to complete only one of the mountains, which is best and why? Before we start, comment down below which is your favourite of the Yorkshire Three Peaks. Whernside. Whernside is the highest of the Yorkshire Three Peaks and many consider this the most boring. However, I beg to differ. Out of the three peaks, Whernside gives you the best views looking over to the Lake District and the Howgills. Look the other way and you will see Ingleborough's best looking side and Pen-y-Ghent in the distance. Not to mention the perfect view of Ribblehead Viaduct, one of the most impressive bridges in England. Although sometimes deemed as boring, I thought the walk along the top was amazing, with a steep drop on one side and incredible views on the other. As for the walk up to the top, that was far from boring either. After starting the walk from Ribblehead, we passed the Ribblehead Viaduct. As you start climbing, you soon cross over a train line where you will find the first feature of this walk, a waterfall. Only a short detour from the path, this waterfall that drops over 30 feet would make even the most boring walk exciting. But that is only the first waterfall. There is still another to come. The second, more secret waterfall I found completely by chance. I trekked aimlessly across long grass for what looked like a mini valley. Luckily, I was rewarded with this amazing waterfall. You could reach this waterfall a lot easier, but it is still a detour from the main path either way. I've put the what three words on the screen now so you can find it. To get to the foot of the fall, there is a steep descent on loose rocks, so make sure you're extra careful. Once you make it down, the full height of the fall can be seen. This fall may even be higher than the first. Unfortunately, I didn't have my tape measure with me. On the summit of Whernside, a clear day will give you views stretching all the way over to Morecambe. The descent is very steep, but luckily there are steps which make the climb down a lot easier. Once you reach the bottom, head in the direction of the viaduct. If you time it correctly, you may be able to catch a sunset through the arches of the viaduct as you pass underneath it. Pen-y-Ghent, from the tallest of the three peaks to the smallest, Pen-y-Ghent, but don't count this out based on its height. Although Pen-y-Ghent probably has the least favourable view from the summit, the interesting route up and also back down makes this a strong contender for the best of the Yorkshire Three Peaks. Starting from Horton in Ribblesdale, it's not long before the climb begins. The climb is short in distance with several bursts of ascent before reaching the crux of the climb. This is where things get really interesting. A thin path with a steep grassy slope to one side leads you up to a more rocky section. Don't worry, this is still accessible for all levels of walkers. The short scramble can be done with ease, but I recommend using your hands while climbing up to avoid any accidents. A final paved path will take you to the summit. Once you've enjoyed the views and refueled, it's time to head down. Like I said, the walk is exciting both up and down, so there's plenty more to see. After following the path downhill, you can take a detour when the path sweeps left. A short trek takes you to a detached pinnacle. If you fancy it, you can squeeze between it like I did. Rejoin the path and the next stop off is not far away. This is the most hidden feature the walk has to offer, and many people don't even know it's here. This is Hunt Pot. Despite only being a short walk away from the path, it's easy to miss. This is like a slit in the floor that has a waterfall that falls down into the nearly 200-foot abyss below. Take extra care around Hunt Pot. One bad step and you could be in for a very dangerous fall. You can get down beside Hunt Pot, but I would avoid this in wet or slippery conditions. But that's not all. There's still one more impressive feature of this walk. Carry on down the main path until you reach a junction. You want to take a right here, and it won't be long before you reach Hull Pot. This was once a cave, but after collapsing created this 60-foot crater in the floor. Sometimes there is a waterfall running into Hull Pot, and it has even been known to fully fill with water after prolonged heavy rain. On other days, the main fall is completely dried up. The walk finishes by retracing your steps and then following a walled track downhill. The gentle descent from here is a pleasant finish to the walk. Ingleborough. Ingleborough isn't the highest, but also not the smallest. In the words of Goldilocks, it's just right. Or is it? I started this walk from Clapham, however there are many different routes you can take. Towards the start of the walk, in Clapham village there is a small waterfall. After leaving the village there is a section of road walking before you start the climb. The route up is a little difficult to follow in places. After missing a turn we had to hack through open grassland until we found our path. Not long after we reached a bog. It wasn't on the path, but that didn't stop me from having a little excursion into it. Not recommended. The path then takes you up to Little Ingleborough before the final stretch to Ingleborough. The summit of Ingleborough is by far one of the biggest, and on busy days you won't feel squashed in. We found a secluded spot with views looking out to the Lake District for our lunch stop. The sun beating down made it irresistible to not have a short sunbathe. Eventually, once we got going again, it was time to head down. This is where we visit one of the best features of the walk, and potentially one of the best features of all three mountains. The stone slab steps take you down until you reach Ghent. This is the highest unbroken waterfall in England, with a drop of 322 feet. As there wasn't much rain before our visit, we were able to get right beside the drop. Make sure you are extremely careful, because falling down here will be the end of you. But if you want to go down and not lose your life, every so often there are days where potholing clubs take you down on a winch. Once done, follow the path further down, admiring the limestone outcrops on the way. The path then narrows as you reach Trougale. The rocks can be slippery even when dry, so try not to get too distracted by the impressive cliffs either side. Shortly you rejoin the stream you left at Ghent, before a final woodland section to make a relaxing finish. So, which is the best of the Yorkshire Three Peaks? All three walks have their own features which make each of them a worthy contender for the best Yorkshire Three Peak. But if I had to crown one as the best Yorkshire Three Peak, it would have to be Whernside. The walk has not one, but two amazing waterfalls, as well as, in my opinion, the best views. That's not to say Hunt Pot, Hull Pot and Ghent are not also out of this world, but as an overall walk, I think Whernside just takes the crown. Let me know what you think of my opinion down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Click the screen now to see me wild camping at Hull Pot.